What's the difference between sellers who never build momentum and those who end up being the top 1% of Etsy sellers? I've worked with hundreds of students and I've seen them go from struggling to make sales to turning it all around to making thousands of dollars per month on Etsy. So today I'm going to go over the top 5 mistakes that beginners make and how to fix them so you can be on your way to digital product Etsy shop success this year. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is trying to find the perfect idea before you start. Let's cut to the chase. The first product that you make may not make any sales, and that's perfectly normal. You don't learn how to play an instrument through studying music theory and watching tutorials alone. You need practice. It's the same in business. Being able to create a digital product that sells is a skill that's built over time, and that skill is built by taking action. Luckily, it doesn't need to take that long, and there are strategies to boost your chances of success from the get-go. We'll cover the most important ones in the 5 main points of this video, but the first one is to narrow down your ideas to the ones that are most likely to be profitable for you. And you do this in 3 simple steps: ideation, evaluation, and validation. Ideation is the step where you discover different product ideas that are selling on Etsy just to get your brain juices flowing and see what's out there. If you need ideas, I'll link down below a resource I created that has a ton of different digital products so you can get your brain juices flowing. The next step is evaluation. This is where you self-evaluate by asking yourself some important questions that will help you decide which digital product to create. The most important one of them all is this: am I interested in creating this product? Interest is super important because enthusiasm really does motivate you to take action. Then you want to consider which product aligns best with your skills, knowledge, or experiences. Why is this important? Because leveraging what you already know can significantly accelerate your success. And that's just because you're not actually starting from zero when you start with what you know or what you can do already. Don't worry if you can't answer this question yet though, because a lot of the time, this one is discovered by actually getting into action. So a great place to start is just by simply asking yourself, which product can I easily and enjoyably create right now? Now, the next small step is validation. And this step is where you want to validate that the product idea you're thinking of selling is already selling well on Etsy. There's no need to reinvent the wheel when you're new. How you figure this out is you type in a relevant keyword that has to do with your product into the Etsy search bar and see if there are any bestsellers. If there are, you know that this product is selling well. If there are no bestsellers, that's still okay. What you want to do is just open some of the relevant listings in a new tab and just make sure you're avoiding the ones that have ads, and then sort the reviews for that listing by newest. And if there are several recent reviews left, you know that this listing is selling well because reviews are only left about 2 to 10% of the time. And if you're one of those people that need more certainty, I get it, that's definitely me. That's why I created Passive Product Payday, which is a challenge that will help you find your profitable niche, profitable product idea, and craft an irresistible offer in 3 days or less. So if you're interested in checking that out, I will link that down below. Mistake number 2 is you are creating generic products in a competitive market. Now notice how I didn't say the mistake was that you entered a competitive market. And that's because where there is competition, there is validation, meaning we have proof that it's actually selling if a ton of other people are selling it. But instead of trying to compete with thousands of people in a competitive market, what you want to do here is differentiate yourself by making your product unique or more niche. For example, imagine creating a daily printable planner. According to eRank, you're competing with 120,000+ other listings that are using this keyword. And there are only 2,200 searches for this keyword. But what if you made this product more unique by creating the planner for the app Notion? Sure, there are less searches, but there's also way less competition, allowing you to have a better chance of standing out in the crowd. But what if you still wanted to make printable planners? Well, then I would suggest making a planner that is more niched, but that still has demand. That's really important. For example, instead of creating a generic daily planner for everyone, you create a daily planner specifically for those with ADHD or for those planning their wedding. Remember, when you're starting out, it's better to be a big fish in a small pond so you have a better chance of standing out. Now, just using an Etsy research tool is not going to tell you exactly what to create. So if you want an in-depth tutorial of how I find these less competitive ideas that still have demand, Let me know in the comment section below so I know if that's a good video idea for you guys. Mistake number 3 is wasting your time creating a non-scalable niched product. Now, while more niche down products can perform well on Etsy, it's important to be cautious because if there aren't enough shoppers interested in your product, you may struggle to make any sales. Additionally, if you are hell-bent on crafting the perfect product for them without considering the market demand, it can lead to burnout. Imagine developing an elaborate digital ebook for a very specific small group of people. The audience size that's looking for this on Etsy might just not justify the effort. If there is not enough demand for a very niche product idea, what I suggest you try is creating something that appeals to a larger group of people. That way you'll have more people that are more likely to buy your product. For example, when I first created my thank you card templates, I made them for handmade business owners. And this was a good idea because my target audience wasn't too broad or too niche. So I was making sales. But I started to get requests from Poshmark sellers, and they asked me if I could include the Poshmark icon within the template so they could use it. And instead of staying niche down to just handmade business owners, I added the Poshmark icon that was being requested of me to broaden my product's appeal. And this resulted in making even more sales. Now, how do you know if the product you want to create is too niche? Well, Etsy research tools have their limitations, so that's why I recommend just use the validation method we talked about in mistake number 1, and just check that your idea is already selling successfully on Etsy. Save your more original ideas for the future where you have more experience and success, and in the beginning, I would just focus on where you're most likely to have a return on investment. Mistake number 4 is not studying the top selling listings. In the beginning, you should be modeling after success. That's because success leaves clues. So analyzing your competitors and identifying patterns and trends that are leading to success is crucial. We analyze competitors to avoid trial and error that can quite literally take forever or end up burning you out. However, outright copying isn't the solution either, both for ethical reasons and because it honestly won't help you that much. Why would you want to directly compete with a top seller that's already ranking on page 1 with tons of social proof helping it to sell? You want to balance what's working for others while also creating something original. And again, this is why having experience in your niche or knowing your target audience well is helpful. So with that being said, how do you do proper competitor research so you know you're on the right track? Well, you can type some of your relevant search terms one at a time into the Etsy search bar to find similar products that are on page 1. And then you can find which ones are selling the best by using the validation technique we discussed in mistake number 1. And remember to avoid analyzing listings that are running ads. Now you just take a look. Are there features and benefits that all the top listings are including? For example, let's say you're selling resume templates and all of the ones you've identified as top sellers mention their resume template is ATS friendly. If so, then that is a sign that that's important to people. So you'll want to make sure that your resume template is ATS friendly, as well as calling attention to it in your listing. Also take a look at what colors and styles are selling the best, and take note of how they're presenting their product in their main photo and their other listing photos, the keywords they're using in their titles and tags, etc. Basically, you want to get a full picture view of what's working for these best-selling listings, as well as which styles, colors, themes, formats, etc. are performing the best. In Passive Product Payday, I walk you through the entire process of competitor research and provide you with a spreadsheet so you can stay organized and follow along. So if you want to check that out, again, it's linked down below. All right, mistake number 5 is not testing enough listings. Now, this doesn't mean you need a ton of listings, but it does mean that it's possible that you underestimated the amount of listings you needed in order to see results. And if you correct the previous mistakes that we've discussed, you really shouldn't need too many listings in order to see your first sale. But do know that the more competitive the market, the more listings you might need to test before it starts to work. How many listings should you launch with? I recommend just 1, but that doesn't mean you stop there. Here is what I suggest and what I personally do. First of all, I personally like to create 1 listing at a time and then launch them as I finish them. For me, this just feels more manageable and it gives me the motivation to keep creating more listings. Not only does this feel less overwhelming, but it means that you're getting your creations out there earlier, which means if you haven't made a sale yet, it's still collecting data as you're moving on and creating your next listing. Now, this data, whether it's keywords you're being found for or questions from shoppers, can help you create better listings as you're producing them. So you can edit, improvise, and make your listings better as you're creating them. Secondly, after I create my first listing, my next listing becomes much easier to create. And that's because I will typically sell the same product just with a different design. So the foundation of the work is pretty much done once I create my first listing. The competitor research is done. I have a previous project file to work off of to make my next listing. I can use my listing photos as templates. The listing description is done. The keyword research is done. You get the point. There's a lot to leverage once your first listing is done. And quick tip, when you set up your next listing, all you have to do is just duplicate your original listing and swap out the photos, make small changes to the SEO, upload your new deliverable, and you're done. Thirdly, if I'm not seeing results after some time, I don't just throw away my product idea. I actually A/B test the main photo and the SEO of the same exact product. This just means duplicating your listing and just swapping out the main photo to test out a different one and make slight changes to your keywords to see if any of that makes a difference. Not every listing will sell, not every listing will sell well, and honestly, you're gonna find that there are only a handful of listings that actually bring in most of the revenue. So the more listings you have, the more chances you have of one of them taking off. And if you create listings using the 3 strategies I just suggested, then you're increasing the likelihood of one of those listings taking off while also decreasing the chance of feeling overwhelmed by the process. Let me know down below which tip you found most helpful. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.